Good morning, everybody. How you doing today? My name's Andrew.
I'm Daniel.
I'm Gavin.
I'm Tracy. I'm Mimi. I'm Lauren.
I'm Daddy.
I'm Petey.
I'm Matt.
I'm Grandpa.
And we're some of the Veggie boys.
And girls.
And we'd like to thank you for stopping by. If you're new here, please consider subscribing because we can grow a lot of things on the farm, but one thing we can't grow is this channel without your help. Welcome back, everyone. It's so nice to see you. Right away this morning, I'd like to catch you up to speed on what we've been doing. Out in front of our greenhouse, we had large pallets stacked completely full of soil. We've taken a few of those pallets and we've moved them inside. One of the biggest reasons for that is if we receive a cold snap within the next week or two, it will actually freeze the soil inside these bags. And that is not easy to break apart. Even our pot filling machine has a hard time tearing up that frozen soil. So we like to bring in plenty of bags so that if we do need soil, we can use it. Now it could get cold or it could stay on the warmer side. And if it stays on the warmer side, then it's not that big of an issue. But if it did get cold, we just don't want to deal with that headache. We have begun preparations for filling our largest greenhouse. This table right here and then this table are filled with trays that have our square pots inside. And what we're gonna be doing with those trays and pots is filling up these entire tables. And then you may remember we were working on blow-up fans. The blow-up fans have been working wonderfully. The only thing left to do in this greenhouse is make sure every water line is hooked up and we gotta make sure our heaters work. So not only were we getting a lot taken care of in the largest greenhouse, we also were working on the germination greenhouse. Now, even though the germination greenhouse is a lot smaller in comparison to all our other greenhouses, it is one of the most important greenhouses that we have because it starts all of our seedlings for us. Currently, the temperature in the greenhouse is 70 degrees, which is good because we have our heater running in here. We have now got all of our water lines connected, and we've even got our plastic for when we start seeding. You start to get pretty excited when this greenhouse is up and running because you know it's time. But we'll talk more about this greenhouse later on. Now, same as yesterday, the farm market is not open today, which gives us a good opportunity to focus on some other things. For example, the girls won't have to worry about anything but getting the order done. Here is the order that came in, a full pallet. But you know how the girls work around here. They work so hard, they work so fast, that'll be done in no time. Well, what do we have over here?
We got an entire seed shipment in.
Let's see, it looks like we got some corn seed, bean seed. Oh, we got red beets. And then over here we got cauliflower, a lot of cole crop seed. We got some leeks, beets, cucumbers. There's a lot of stuff here. Eggplant. That's all eggplant. This is all eggplant? That's a lot of eggplant. And what do you have here?
Peppers, tomatoes, more peppers. There's some basil.
So do you get excited with all this seed coming in?
It just means there's a lot more work to do now.
When you get a seed order like this in, something very important, go through the packing list and make sure everything is here. Because if something's not here, we need to get it fast.
Now make sure you keep all the cold crops together.
I'm keeping them together. I'm making sure they're in alphabetical order too.
Hybrid.
Casper. After we got finished sorting the seeds, we came down here and started working with the animals. I just got my basket of eggs, and Dad's now finished off his basket of eggs. I just got finished feeding the chickens, so we got the eggs collected and they're fed. And while I was working on that, Daniel was grabbing silage and grain for the cattle. Now, we did have some rain last night, so it is a little sloppy here in the barnyard. Fortunately, everything has been draining, so we haven't had any issues today. We were able to get out and grab another load of sawdust. Plenty of bedding for the animals. Oh, exciting times. What are you working on, Matthew?
We're going off of our records from last year. We planted on the 24th of February last year. Today is the 21st. We're ahead of schedule. But we're just going through to make sure that we don't forget anything that we need to plant. Everything is in this box.
So now that we've gone over the seed that we have, we've looked in our book, we're gonna be planting some flowers and some vegetable seed today. So today is a big deal. It's a very big deal. Before we can get started, we're missing one key piece of equipment, the seeder, which we're gonna go grab.
Scratch the door!
Now this machine right here is called an air seeder, and this makes seeding all the plants we have to a bearable job. If we had to go one by one putting seeds in, that would be terrible. But this machine allows us to put up to 512 seeds in one tray at a time. Now the interesting thing about this machine is it has an exhaust and a vacuum. So when we're dumping the seeds on, we move it down to the vacuum position. It holds the seeds fast after we dump them onto the tray. Once we flip it over, we move it to exhaust, and that blows all the seeds into the tray. Now we've all got a few different jobs that we're gonna be working on. My job is gonna be to start filling trays. So we have our germination soil here. It's a little bit different than what we use for transplanting, but I'm gonna take the germination soil and move it into our trays. Now the interesting thing about this soil, and what sets it apart from the other soils that we use, is that this is ran through a smaller screen. So there's no debris in the soil, which is very important because that makes it a lot easier on the seeds to germinate. They don't have to push past any debris, and because the soil is light and airy, it gives those seeds the best opportunity to sprout. And germination rates are very important to us because if we have higher germination rates, well then that means we essentially make more money. We don't lose as much on the seeds. Now what's nice about these trays is it gives every seed a good opportunity to sprout, and on the bottom there's room for the roots to push through as they start to get larger. Now the plants will not stay in here for too long. Once they get a good root structure, we will then transplant them into other trays or pots that we'll use for sale. And the color of the tray is important too, because on a sunny day, the tray will actually absorb heat because of its color, and that will heat up the soil, which makes it a lot easier for the seeds to germinate. For seeds to have the best germination rates possible, the soil needs to be heated up to the right temperatures, and using those dark colored trays help with that. But also underneath our table, all these little tubes run hot water that heats up the trays from underneath. So if we combine all of these things together, well then hopefully we'll have good germination rates. We're now jumping right into seeding. Matthew is working on tags and Daniel is running the machine.
This is how small the seeds are. There's 500 seeds in this little tube.
Daniel is currently seeding violas, and then he's going to be moving on to pansies. Now those seeds are really tiny, as you saw, but those are both an early spring flower, which are very important to us. And as you can see, Matthew's going to fill out the tags and then document everything in that book.
Just finished seeding violas, now we're going to start seeding pansies.
Now what color pansy are you working on? What's it say?
Andrew?
Oh, wow! I've got a good amount of trays filled up now, so I don't need to worry about filling any more up. I am gonna start covering the trays that have been filled with seeds. Now, it may be hard to tell, but there are seeds in each one of these plugs. So what I'm gonna have to do is cover this with soil lightly and carefully so I don't knock any out. I'm trying to make sure I get all these seeds covered. But some of these trays, it is really hard to see the seeds. So I'm just trying to make sure I get every inch of this covered lightly. So far, this is what we've gone through. And then once we finally finish off all the flowers, we do have some onion seed here that we're gonna need to plant. And I think we're gonna do parsley too. I don't see the parsley seed, but we do have a lot of onions. So far, this is what we have seeded. We have a good selection of trays here. And once we're finally finished with all the varieties, we're gonna come over the top with some water. We were saying it's starting to feel warmer in here. It's 82 degrees. When that sun comes out, these greenhouses really warm up. So here we have the last impatient that we need to do. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 trays of petunias that need to be seeded.
That doesn't matter. It's just I didn't see your photo.
Now I'm gonna have to be careful with this bag because the soil is very, very wet. It was sitting outside and it is heavy. So as I'm spreading this along the top, I just need to be careful. So now in the greenhouse, Gavin has joined us. He just got done taking care of horses. How did that go?
It went great. There were a couple problems with some of the horses, but Dabby and I got that all situated.
How do you feel about the temperature in here? It's a little warm, huh?
I'm getting a little warm, yeah.
That's all she wrote. This is the last of the flowers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So we've got 17,500 seeds done this morning, or 35 flats. Now these are all flowers. We're gonna be working on the vegetables this afternoon because it is lunchtime. So before we leave, we're gonna give these seeds a drink and then we're gonna run down and eat. For lunch today, we are having leftover chicken sandwiches. We've now made our way back up into the germination greenhouse. We need 2 flats of flat leaf parsley and 2 flats of curly. So we've already got our trays filled up. We've got our seed right here. So all that's left to do is get the seeds in the tray. Now to get started with our onions, we're doing something a little different. We are using 801 cells. Now we're gonna be taking these trays and doing 5 of each variety. We are gonna be using the same plate, so we're not gonna need to change anything else with that. Gavin is putting into place the last of the onions. Now all we need to do is finish off 5 more trays of leeks. But we're having a little bit of a problem. Daniel, what is the problem?
Normally we get regular seeds, but these are pelleted seeds, so they don't stick on our tray.
I am trying to keep it around 50 seeds though. So whatever looks like 50 to me is what I'm putting in each cell. And once I have what looks to be around 50, I'm moving on. Please don't pause the video and count them, because I might be putting too much in. Don't tell Grandpa. Now that should wrap up seeding for today. We finished off with about 13,000 vegetable plants. Between the onions and the leeks, that's a lot of vegetables. Altogether, we seeded over 30,000 plants today, which is kind of crazy when you really think about it. As you know, we mentioned earlier, we want to keep this as warm as we can, but not too hot. If it was a cloudy day, we would not have the plastic on because the plastic is helping to keep all the heat inside, and it's also helping to keep all the moisture in, which is 2 things that are very important when it comes to germinating. But in the end, I don't know about you guys, I'm pretty excited. Over 30,000 seeds today. Planting season is on the way. We're getting our pot filling machine plugged in and into place, and then we'll start working on filling all of these trays that we have. There is a lot to be filled. Now for the new people that have never seen this machine work, what we're gonna do is take our bales of soil, we're gonna unload them into our hopper. The machine does a great job at breaking up the soil and aerating it, and then it follows the conveyor up and drops down into whatever we want it to. It could be trays, it could be pots, whatever we need. We don't need to add it, but we do like to add a little bit of water to help keep the dust down. I can show you what the boys are doing. Dad is feeding trays to Matthew, and then he is running the trays through the machine, and Gavin is pulling them out on the other side. And just for watching for a few seconds, you can see how well they work together. So my job is to keep this thing full. Board. Work has been put on hold for now because we got a frozen chunk stuck inside the machine, and well, I got it stuck. But it wasn't my fault. I didn't know it was frozen. We finally got it out, but it did bend up some of the metal pieces in here, which isn't good. This was the largest chunk that was giving us a problem. So there's that. And then there's also this chunk and this chunk. We just filled up our last tray, and the whole time Daniel was moving them to the tables. We've got the far side finished, which is good. In the days that follow, we're gonna try and get the rest of this filled up. So this is a good start. Now that we're finished, everybody went down to take care of the animals, but we did need to clean up. So I stayed and I swept up the floors. So now that I've got everything clean in here, we're done. Alrighty, we are now all out at the dinner table. For dinner tonight, we are having Salisbury steak. We got salad, carrots, and broccoli. Well, everyone, since we are now all out at the dinner table, that means this is where we're gonna end the video today. I would like to thank everyone for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.